It's my pleasure to welcome you to our discussion today on what MINUSMA teaches us about the future of UN peacekeeping. I'd like to begin by thanking our partners on today's event, including the UN Department of Peace Operations and the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And I'd like to give a special welcome to His Excellency Issa Konfuru, a permanent representative of the Republic of Mali, and all our panelists for joining us for today's discussion. For more than 10 years, the UN mission in Mali, MINUSMA, worked to support sustainable peace in a country that is among the most difficult operating environments ever experienced by a UN peacekeeping operation. In a context marked by persistent instability, asymmetric threats, and waning post-state consent, MINUSMA nevertheless played a critical role helping to protect civilians and sustain a tenuous peace process. And we pay tribute to the more than 300 peacekeepers who made the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives while serving in MINUSMA. While it would be incorrect to state that there was no peace to keep in Mali, as DPO's recently released lessons learned study shows, this peace was not enough to create a foundation for mission success. And despite the valiant efforts of UN peacekeepers, MINUSMA was eventually forced to leave the country. The purpose of our discussion today is to look closer at the experience of MINUSMA, to see what it can teach us about the future of peacekeeping. In particular, as outlined in the Lessons Learned study, MINUSMA underscores the need to anchor UN missions' incredible political strategies to enhance adaptability and to strengthen partnerships. Today, we are pleased to get to hear from the UN, Malian, and broader regional perspectives on these topics. And to introduce our panel, I'll now turn to my colleague Jenna Russo, who will moderate today's discussion. Thank you.
Good morning, Excellencies and colleagues. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jenna Russo. I'm the Director of Research here at IPI and the head of the Brian Urquhart Center for Peace Operations and Peace Building. And as Zaid said, it's my pleasure to moderate today's discussion. We're very grateful to the Netherlands for supporting today's event and to our wonderful panel of speakers. So to introduce our panel, to my right we have David Harry, who's a Director of the UN Division of Policy Evaluation and Training, or DPET, in the Department of Peace Operations. And in a few minutes, David will help unpack some of the key takeaways from the Lessons Learned report. Then to my left, we're very pleased to have Ambassador Issa Konfuru, who is the permanent representative of the Republic of Mali to the UN. Online, we have Mohammed Salah Anadi, who is former SRSG and head of MINUSMA. He served there, I believe, from 2015 to 2021. And currently, Mr. Anadi is a panel member for the AU's high-level panel of eminent experts, and he's joining us online. And then finally, we have Dr. Emma Birikaram, who is Director of Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center in Ghana. So a big thank you to all of our panelists for being with us today. So David, I'll start with you. The Lessons Learned report is titled A Peace That Was Not Enough. What does this mean, and what are some of the key takeaways from the Lessons Learned study, and how are these lessons applicable to other mission settings, and what they can tell us about the future of peacekeeping? Over to you.
Good morning. Thank you very much to IPI, and certainly we're really glad to have this opportunity amongst all of you and those of you joining online to take a look at lessons that we are drawing and we need to continue to draw from the mission in Mali. It's an honor to be here with Ambassador Konfuru as well as former SRSG Anadif. I want to just begin though by also recognizing and recalling the extraordinary efforts of those men and women who served with MINUSMA over the past decade, civilian, police and military personnel, including those who made the ultimate sacrifice for peace. There were 311 peacekeepers who died, including 17 Malian UN staff, and of course countless others who were working in one way or another to support the peace process. So I'd just like to ask us all to take a moment of silence in recall of them. And I think it's important also because many of the lessons are relevant today, and as we will be looking at the future of peace operations in the coming weeks and months with the Secretary General's report due soon. I think our starting point is that MINUSMA's withdrawal didn't mark the end of UN peacekeeping, as many talked about it at the time, but rather an important inflection point. And so what can MINUSMA teach us? We seek to contribute through the report to this discussion by ensuring that our reflections are grounded in evidence and experience from the field. We consulted very broadly in developing this report. The title, "A Peace That Was Not Enough," reflects one of the central findings that I think contradicts a little bit the one-line headline as MINUSMA was departing, which was "There was no peace to keep."
I'm particularly happy to join the other keynote speaker, David, for DPO, the former Prime Minister of Chad, and former SRG of MINUSMA, Ambassador Mohamed Ali, and also the Director of Research of Kofi Annan Center, Ms. Emma Kokari. I would like to thank all of you for participating in this meeting, present in this room and online. Before answering your questions, I would like first to go back to the reason why MINUSMA was deployed in Mali, and then I would like to draw some lessons from the host nation's perspective. But before doing that, let me first of all, and once again, pay tribute to our organizations, the UN, particularly the two Secretary General who were there when MINUSMA was deployed at Active, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. MINUSMA was deployed when he was in Chad, and also our current Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. But I would like also to thank the UN Security Council, the group contributing and police contributing country to MINUSMA. I would like to thank ECOWAS, I would like to thank African Union, the EU, and pay particularly tribute to all the life lost or wounded during MINUSMA's presence in my country. Mali is a land of history and memory. I can tell you that we will never forget the effort and sometimes the ultimate sacrifice paid by UN staff to help restore peace and stability in my country. The context in which MINUSMA was deployed is absolutely needed to know to understand the development later on. We were a stable country till 2012. Stable, democratic, very respective of human rights and freedoms.
My starting point is informed by a recent work that I did co-authoring an institutional assessment of the African Union mission for Mali and the Sahel, which we just completed last April. And so looking through those lenses, it's clear from our perspective that MINUSMA's closure and some of the challenges that the Sahel is facing, they are not necessarily separate events. And so I am starting from the premise that they are all dual symptoms of a mismatch between some of the, as has already been said, the traditional multilateral templates, as has been already alluded to, and the actual political dynamics of the Sahel. And as has already been said, MINUSMA was a mission that was called a mission with no peace to keep. But as the report rightly notes, there was a peace process, and the UN ceasefire indeed held for a number of years because of the critical role that MINUSMA played and its presence on the ground. The true paradox or the challenge was that this was a hybrid conflict, right? And so whilst we attempted to preserve a static formal agreement on paper between certain parties, even though the dynamics was changing, we did not change the agreement, we did not change our planning, we did not change whatever we were doing to ensure that it was reflective of the changing environment. And so this really is where challenges were faced on the ground.
With all those reports, have we not been able to hear correctly what the Minister said? Have we not been able to report properly what was going on in the field? So if someone can help me to understand better how we are arriving now to this situation after having so many reports provided by all the institutions. Thank you very much.
My question is actually for all four of them, whoever chooses to answer the best and whoever chooses them. But based on all the inputs received today as well as the lessons learned, how do you wish to convey these lessons even to the Security Council where all these mandates are at the end of the day formed, and how does DPO or DPPA consider investing in the time of the Security Council, especially with the pen holders with respect to the ongoing missions as well as missions in the future? Thank you very much.
I'm Colonel Sorofilm from Burkina Faso. I just want to intervene about what the last speaker has said. And if I may recall, she said that the closure of MINUSMA and J5 worsened the situation and caused lack of coordination in the region. I want to bet that because she forgot to say that J5 was in paper made by local military, but in active there were more foreign soldiers than local military. And when you ask them to support you, they come, they play around, and they go. They don't even fire, they don't open fire. And I was in the ground. I witnessed that. What is wrong in situations like that is that most churches, they don't say the truth. Sorry, I'm not a diplomat, I'm military, I will say that. They don't say the truth. And not saying the truth worsens the situation. Make people think that this is what happened in the ground and there was no solution. This is not correct. It was not what was happening in the situation. Something else was going on. And in the rooms and in meetings, some they say other things than what was in the ground. Nowadays, we have more coordination. In the past, you were not able to pursue terrorists cross-border. You have to ask permission. And imagine, you are in a situation, you are fighting terrorists, they are crossing border, you need to ask your capital will ask G5, G5 will ask permission from I don't know where, and it will take 5 days, and the terrorists will sit there, wait for you to have a response before moving forward. It was not realistic. We had to, sometimes we cross border. I cross border sometimes. I have been warned, and I've been, I don't know, how would I say that, by foreign people. They said you don't have to cross border. I didn't have problem with Malians when I crossed the border. We were coordinating, but we gave order and warning from foreign people. This is not said in those kind of situations. And nowadays, you have coordination. If you have situation in Mali, you have situation in Niger, you just call, they come and they fight. The situation is that you have government, you have official government that are fighting against terrorists. It's not a situation where you have the government and separatists. No, it's not like that. So I would like to, it's good to put the context in place so that we can find the right solution. Thank you.
And Director David also. And of course, Excellency Honorable from and Martha, my sister, Emma. So, no question from my side, because I don't think I should ask any question to His Excellency and all the panel members. But to say that lessons learned is great. AU-UN partnership is there. We always want to take note of what our host states want. And we also take note that the UN review of the future of all forms of peace support operations is going to come out. The AU is always there to work with the UN, and we look forward to having such further engagement on how we can take into account all the points shared by His Excellency from Mali and the other panelists, because we all agree. David, you've been doing this for many years, because Jenna talks about 20 years, maybe more for David. But then how can we work together so that we address a number of the points that EPA from Burkina Faso mentioned, because they are aware of those points, but we need to find ways of working together within the parameters, of course, that our organizations allow, but to make sure that we use those available spaces and parameters to address what those states want. Thank you.
Thank you.